The current spoiler warning level is Crimson.
Friends and folks, for this episode, you're looking at a spoiler warning level of Crimson. We're talking about two machines from Gundam Seed Freedom, the movie. It's pretty, it's last year, pretty recent. So obviously that's spoilers for any GGP listeners and anybody who isn't, relatively current on Gundam. With that in mind, please enjoy the episode.
They call that color greige.
Oh, I love that!
Greige.
Wow. Wow. Hello, friends and folks, and welcome back to another episode of Mechanista and G. We're just talking about coveralls over here.
The way we got to coveralls was so stupid.
I take all the credit for that one.
Yeah, you do. You did. You did it. You're the one who did it. It was great. It started with a conversation about MLB The Show, and it somehow ended up here. But anyway.
I wish I could wear coveralls in MLB The Show.
That feels like... I don't know, I feel like if you're, doing sprinting on bases, that maybe coveralls... I don't know. I don't know if they feel like they'd be... Well... Probably be okay, actually. I don't know.
They'd probably be okay. I'm playing, 24... I didn't play MLB The Show 24, so, one of the two features that are new to the game, one's new in 24, one's new in 25, so they're both new to me. Last year they added, female players, right? And this year they added, oh wait, I should get my phone for this bit. And this year they added the career mode with the create a character starting earlier, right? Previously it was it started with the draft, right? Mm-hmm. And you were fresh out of college, or I mean they didn't bring it up. There's sort of an assumption you went to college, but it didn't really, as I say, come up. And oh boy, I took a lot of there's what I want. This year it starts with you playing in high school and at senior year playing the state championships, right? Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of effects of this. Some of them are really cool. I'm probably gonna write a thing, right? Because there's just some really neat stuff about it. Ultimately, my theory is the thing that they've realized is baseball is cool because people suck. And not just suck bad personalities, though there is a little bit of that, but just people are failures, and that's why this game is good. There's so much of umpires calling the ball wrong because it's a video game and you can see that it was a strike and the umpire's ball, and you're what the fuck, man?
My brain... I feel like I would be terrible at running sports because my brain goes... Calls shouldn't be based on gut. We have the ability to measure everything, so actually everything should be done, and if a referee is wrong, then they need to be reprimanded for being incorrect. And I know that's just not how any sport works, like football or baseball or anything.
I think some sports it could stand to work that way a little more. I think refs in a lot of sports, it's they make a bad call and then there's just never consequences for it ever. And there's stuff I remember within the last year watching a game with my hockey team, the Detroit Red Wings, mm-hmm. where one of my team went for a shot on the goal and a player on the other team dove and then hurled their stick to deflect the puck. You can't do that.
Yeah, no.
And it was so obvious, right?
Uh-huh.
Because, it's hard to miss someone, lunging across the ice and then hurling a projectile. No call, no punishment, no nothing. And it's I don't need you to retroactively change that, but that umpire needs a fucking talking to.
Well, like, it's a weird thing for me, right? Because, again, I know that some arguments would probably be that, like, sports would be more boring if there weren't, like, false calls, but my brain just goes, but, like, the rules part of my brain goes, but if you're playing a game that is designed around these specific things, then everything should be completely objective. There shouldn't be subjectivity focused into this. Because the subjectivity is, like, the skill level of the players, but, like, something like a foul not getting recognized or some other kind of, like, incorrect call does not feel like a choice of the players. That feels like some motherfucker who's supposed to do their job has fucked up and is not doing their job to me. And
so foul is very rarely a problem. Foul
oh yeah,
is
but you know what I mean. Like, just
white.
Just use that as a shorthand for in general.
Here's the thing, though. With strikes and balls, the reason I think it's good is, I mean, and it can be bad, right? There are some umpires that, like, I don't remember because I haven't been watching baseball as much lately, but, like, I have friends who could name names of, like, oh, if you have this umpire, you're fucked, right? Like, this guy is famously an idiot and blind, right? But, like, there are two things about it. One is umpires have specific strike zones, broadly speaking. Like, if you look at the data, you can be like, oh, this guy, compared to the standard strike zone, his up and down is a little smaller and his left and right is a little wider. And you can know that and play to that. And then the other thing is you can do, like fucking, like, con games. You can scam them, right?
Yeah.
And I like that MLB The Show even feels like it represents this. If you are a pitcher who's just, like, throwing lots of strikes and then you throw a close ball, odds are the umpire has been convinced by your performance so far, and, like, decent odds they'll be like, well, I can't quite tell, but that was probably a strike. This guy throws strikes.
Okay.
And there's some fun to that. And then also, there's a little bit of, like, the performance of the players to a degree, like the batter. Like, you're never going to get an umpire to change their mind based on your reaction to their call, right? That will never, ever happen. Mm-hmm. However, if they call a clear ball a strike and it gets you out and you give him a look like, the fuck? Sometimes the calls change a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, it's something that, like, is weird for me when it comes to sports. I mean, it makes sense, to be fair, like, to the game. It makes sense for a game to try to emulate this, right? Like, this inconsistency. Mm-hmm. It's just, like, a weird... I just have a weird brain thing about it, I think. I'm just... I don't know.
The one other thing I wanted to show, I took a picture for this. If you do, like realistic character creators made for, making people that look like they're from the real world, I tend not to mess with them very much because I'm not good at them, right?
Well, sometimes ironically, the ones that try to look most realistic tend to sometimes also look, very... They're hard, at least I kind of agree with you. I just find them hard to work with, like... Usually, also, it doesn't help that they are not generally made to make people that look like me.
Yeah.
You know? Well, because, like, there's this one UFC game that I messed with, and, because I got it for free on PS Plus, and I was like, man, this character creator is dog shit. Like, the hair options are really limited and whatnot, and I get that it's, like, trying to make everyone look like a UFC fighter, but also, that's not the kind of character I like making, I guess, you know? Mm-hmm. Just, I have problems with them sometimes, using those, yeah. Anyway, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, me too. No, I feel you. And like, if I could get if I was good at them, if I could get the result I wanted, I would do it more. But often it's like, moving these sliders to change, face shape. It's like, no, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. I'll change it if it's like, do you want elf ears? Because that's easy, and I can tell that one, and I have an opinion. But that meant I didn't change very many sliders for my my lady pitcher, right? Who would, of course, go on to join the MLB. And that means I didn't change anything like height.
Oh.
That's default height.
Wait, hold on. It didn't load the image for me, actually. Oh, there it is. Okay.
She's 5'4", which may be average height for a woman in America.
I'm
it is not
5'4".
average height for a sports player, especially a pitcher. Pitchers are tall.
Yeah. That's...
And it's really funny because there are some cutscenes where clearly for the sake of animation, they average everyone's height.
Mhm.
And then there are ones where they don't. Like when my character was at the MLB draft and got drafted and went on stage and like got like a handshake from the chairman who was towering over her. It's very funny.
Yeah. I'm 5'4", and the thing is though, all of my friends, I surround myself seemingly by people who are generally taller than me, so even though, like, my brain knows 5'4" is average, I'm just shorter than, like, everyone I know and hang out with in life.
I mean, it's also, it's not average for, like, Americans writ large. It is average for women, average, for, I should say, anyone assigned female at birth.
Yeah.
For anyone assigned male at birth, the average is significantly higher. And then if you average the two, of course, the average for just people would be higher.
Yeah, it's just funny how that works out, is all just thinking on, like, what average heights are and whatnot, like, in various locations.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyway. It's just funny because my brain goes, well, I guess that is average, but my brain just goes, I'm so fucking short. I could stand to be shorter, actually.
I feel that.
I like being short.
I'm 5'10", and for a long time I was like, man, I wish I was just 10 foot, and now I'm like, damn, I wish I was way shorter. But that's just your preferences change as time passes. Let's roll.
Oh right,
dice.
Robots. This Mechanista episode's been going on for fucking 12 minutes.
I want to do something short because peek behind the curtain. Last night we were on Gundam at MAHQ. Shoutouts to Chris, shoutouts to Ryu, shoutouts to Neo. It was fun being on the show. It was also almost 3 hours, so I would like a shorter one.
Yeah,
this
and
morning.
also it was almost 3 hours, and it was at 10 p.m. Eastern, so we finish at 1 a.m. Eastern. Not as bad for you, I guess. Well, no, because this is still early for you, because it's only because it's 2 p.m. for me. We have the East Coast West Coast thing going on with our times, so yeah.
And neither of us are morning people.
No, not at all. I couldn't fall asleep after it last night. It was funny because while I was on the line talking, I had the problem of, okay, I'm starting to nod off, or it just happens to me when I'm doing stuff like that. And then when I actually go to bed to lay down, it's well, now I can't fall asleep. What the fuck? I've always been like this and I hate it. I used to have that happen I'm working a late night at work, way back when I was in Vegas. It's okay, I'm working till, midnight tonight, and I'm starting to fall asleep, at the desk I'm at. And then I drive home, and I'm okay, well, at least I can sleep now, so I can, wake up for tomorrow's workday, and then I can't fall fucking asleep, even though I was just falling asleep at work. It's just, same thing. I hate it.
Yeah.
Anyway. What do we get?
Fun thing. We got something we talked about last night. So...
Oh.
I got a pretty small snip, because I feel like you'll get it pretty fast, otherwise you might still. We'll see.
Yeah, let's see. That would be... this is the GELGOOG Menace, right?
This is the GELGOOG Menace.
Oh, I can't believe I remember that name. Yeah. I think it's just because I looked at a picture of it last night, too, when we were talking about the Freedom designs, that my brain just immediately, caught, the line work and, the way it's colored. I'm just okay, there's only one thing that could be.
We'll go ahead and do the GYAN while we're at it.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, they're
just
kind of related, and, it'd be very, very short otherwise.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the GELGOOG Menace. So this is from Seed Freedom. This is, Seed Freedom adds 2 new designs for Zaft. Well, quote-unquote Zaft, for our allies to use. Compass, which is just some Zaft were the ones doing the ZAKUs and whatnot, So, anyway, yeah, so you've got the GELGOOG Menace. and it is a GELGOOG, right? And it is meant to look like a GELGOOG from but more Seed-esque. Though it's interesting, right? Because in this setting, it's also an upgrade of the ZAKU, and it does have a more ZAKU-esque head than a GELGOOG head, like the way the tubes and the mouth are. It doesn't have like like the nose doesn't really feel very GELGOOG-y. That's a weird word to say, GELGOOG-y. But like, you know, the GELGOOG, well, because the GELGOOG I always think of as almost having like a weird little snout because of the you know, the nose having like the two little dots on it like this. Oh, sorry. So it's just like one of those things where it's like a weird mix, right, of like a ZAKU and a GELGOOG. Well, actually, you know what I realized it is? It is the it is not actually this, but like just when I word it that way, it reminds me of the ZAKU High Mobility R3, which is the ZAKU High Mobility that is the stopgap between a ZAKU and a GELGOOG.
Sure.
And it's kind of what it reminds me of, though. But yeah, so what the fuck does Menace stand for? Does it stand for anything? No. Does GELGOOG stand for anything?
I mean, I don't think that... I mean, it's lowercase Menace.
Yeah, Menace is lowercase, but the GELGOOG is uppercase. So I'm like, wait.
That's true.
Because ZAKU stood for something, if I remember right? Like, it was like Zaft.
Yes.
I don't remember. But no, I'm not seeing, like, anything mention, like, what it stands for. Okay. Well, anyway, the GELGOOG. So yeah, this is used by the, some of the characters in as part of Compass in Gundam Seed Freedom. Specifically, Luna Maria uses it. That is that version that we have up is Luna Maria's colors. You know, with the red. There's also a mass production kind of colors to it, that is just like, it's standard, which is funny because it's kind of GELGOOG colors, but again, they like, it's more blue than gray. It's weird.
It's mostly the chest that does the GELGOOG colors.
Yeah, it's got the, like, the green chest part, but yeah. Yeah, so, just to talk about this design, starting with the head. The head is very similar to the ZAKU Warrior. It's got, like, the eye cuts around the mono eye, though it has upper eye cuts as well as lower ones, which is interesting. So, like, the brow above has, like, these little cuts upward, which, again, that is, like, similar to how the GELGOOG do, but it's just funny, because, like, this head just never scans as GELGOOG to me. I don't know why that is. It's just, this head doesn't scan very GELGOOG-y to me. It has the more helmeted look too, like the kind of like the ZAKUs from Seed, where like, you know, the armor around the top of the head is basically like a soldier helmet around it. It has a crest on the head, like, you know, very Zaft of the mobile suit.
Very GYAN especially.
And then it also has a commander antenna, and even the standard version, it always has the antenna, so that's always there. And then for the mouth part, you have like a little mouthpiece with a vent on the front, and then two tubes coming out, going into the helmet, which, again, that's the part that also feels very ZAKU more so than GELGOOG. It's just having, like, you know, the standard vent mouth with the tubes. Moving on to the chest. The chest is designed in kind of a weird way. You've got, you do have distinct pectoral sections. It has little color Vulcans on the top of the chest there. I believe these are color Vulcans. Let me see. Are these? Maybe not. Maybe these are just thrusters. Yeah, I guess it's just thrusters. But, you know, it's got these, like, they look like Vulcans built into the chest there, right? Like, the way they're designed. Like, especially with having, like, the little gray, you know, what appears to be a barrel, but I guess they are just little chest verniers. And on each pectoral, the pectorals, like, extend forward a decent bit, and on the very bottom of them, it has, like, a row of vents going downward, again, to evoke the GELGOOG. Has, like, a little black piece of armor in the middle of the chest, which is interesting, because that's not the hatch. You can see the hatch is on the belly. It's not a circle hatch like the one on the GELGOOG, but it does have, like, a hatch located on the lower chest. It is still, like, rounded there, you know. Just
it does. I mean, like, besides the split in the middle, it otherwise does just have the two-tiered, like, vented overhang chest of the GELGOOG.
Where it is different is that it actually adds, like, the extra torso joint there, or the extra torso section that gives it a bit more, left and, like, it can ab crunch a bit more and, like, scooch the body around a bit more on that. So it has that little extra torso piece in the middle, and that's in a lighter red. Most of the torso is in a darker red. The little thrusters on the collar have these little white, like, pieces around the top of them. And then it's got, like, just this little black strip of armor right above the cockpit hatch in the very middle of the chest. For the shoulders, rounded shoulders on the front and back of them, and they have just some panel lining details. Connecting on the outer middle part, it does have a, like, big thruster that is just in the, like, on the edge of the shoulder here. I am curious if these are movable at all, like, up and down, because they look, just like the way they are separated, it looks like they would be, but looks like on the model and stuff even, they're not, they're just static. But, it looks like this is like a thruster sandwich between two shoulder plates, And the outer thruster, has, like, a little bit of a scoop going on the bottom of it, so it just gives it a unique shape. So, nice shape on the shoulders. Very circular bicep with, like, an outer vent part on the outer part, on the shoulder part, like, underneath the armor, where the bicep is connected into. It's actually quite visible, the part underneath the shoulder. Then the actual bicep itself, pretty standard, just have some panel lining on it. You have a pretty standard double joint. For the arms, rounded, simple arms, though the outer arm does have, like, a little connection point, as well as, like, again, I guess it's just like a vent or something on this. Like on which the GELGOOG also has these weird wrist things. It's really funny because later on, there's GELGOOG variants like the Jaeger that turn these into, like, little beam guns, or, variants that will add on parts over them. But, on the original GELGOOG, and I guess on this, they're just, like, vents on the arms. They do look cool, though. Adds a bit of detail to the arm. And then the hands are hands, pretty simple. For the waist, we've got a skirt piece that is trying to not look very skirt-like. Like, you can see, like, where there are separate parts for it, but it's, trying to look all one piece, very First Gundam, very GELGOOG. So it's got, like, a black piece in the middle. You got some red pieces around that. You've got two skirts extending downward that have pink thrusters at the end of them, on the bottom for Luna Maria's. You have these side skirts that are kind of squared off, though the very side of them also has, like, a little box with a thruster on the bottom of it. And then the rear skirt is, like, a singular plate that has a thruster in the back middle and then some venting around the edges of the skirt. The thighs, rounded thighs, just has a panel line down the middle and down the back. Very simple. Pretty standard double joint for the legs. You get, the knees are kind of pointy on the top. They have a black piece beneath that has a thruster in the middle of the knees. Bell bottoms going on with these legs. Some visible thrusters on the, like, inside of these bell bottoms, both on the outside and inside of them. And then on the outside and inside of the calves as well, there are little outer thrusters that are like little round thrusters just kind of embedded in the leg there. There's also a more boxy thruster on the back of each calf. Finally, the feet, or I guess I should say there's ankle armor that hangs off the bottom of the leg rather than on the foot. And that has some pink around the edge of it. And then the feet themselves, just very standard Gundam feet, red armor on the top, black sole, red armor on the top of the heel, black heel, a little bit of a split between the two parts of the feet. The backpack's an interesting situation here, because I think we only ever see this with the... No, we do have... Okay, there is the space pack and the atmospheric pack, okay. Here, let me see. Because the one you linked there is the atmospheric pack.
Atmosphere, yeah.
So there are two different backpacks. I guess I'll talk about the atmospheric one first. So, the backpack is very Zaft, very Jin-like in its setup, like where it's got these almost like insectoid wings going on the back of it, you know, on the sides here. They have these little flaps that can move up and down on them and have a bunch of thrusters inside of them. And then connected into the middle of the backpack part, where there's also just like some thrusters facing downward on the backpack. You have is this the railgun on the one shoulder, or on the one like backpack part? There?
No, because the railgun like is only in the second deployment, so this is just
the beam rifle just stores on the back.
This is the linear gun.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, there's a whole like, wait, does the people from Cuck Nation have fucking special anti-beam tech, so we need a special gun for that. So round 2 they get the railgun.
And then there's a like little missile pod on the other side. It's got 6 tubes in it. So I believe from what I can see, the other thing is that usually on deployment, the atmospheric and the space pack generally will have 2 of these missiles, but Luna Maria is the one that adds the big gun to it. So, so yeah, it's the Infernist LFPG. I don't know what LFPG stands for, but yeah.
Linear gun.
Yeah. So yeah, the design of this is fine. I think it's all right. Let me just throw the thing with the atmospheric and the space pack is they actually have very similar designs. They both have like the wing thing going on. The space version here, the wings like that are on the outside are a bit bigger, and they have a bit more like thrusters on the inside of them. I don't think they have that bottom part, but like they're very similar wings. I wish we had good art of just like the rear of this pack, but we do not. At least from what I'm seeing. Oh no, here we go. From the Seed Freedom book. Let me grab this, because we actually have a good comparison here of both packs on Luna Maria's. Here we are. So you can see them there. Like, different thruster design on them, but overall, pretty similar backpacks. The space one has a bit more, thrusters going on with it, but, they're fine. I think the space one looks better by having the black, or the atmospheric one looks better by having the black on it. I agree with that. The other wings look a little more boring just being in the white and blue. I mean, the other wings look like they belong on the GYAN, which is, the colors are like the standard GYAN colors, so... I mean, yeah,
this pack is exactly the same one the GYAN has. Yeah. So,
well, they both use the as it is called, what is it? The
Bolello.
They both use the Bolello system, they're like, okay, we have an A variant for atmospheric and S variant for space, and they're very similar, and you could just kind of exchange them as necessary, and they have hard points for, like, the weapons on them, so, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a GELGOOG. It's fine. I feel bad just, like, kind of being, like, a little, I don't hate it. It's just, these machines are not the most exciting. This does have some pretty cool equipment, and I will bring that up. I do think the equipment for this machine is pretty good. Let me pull up some pictures of that. I'll just grab Daolong's model pictures just because it's a little easier. To show off the accessories that way. So yeah, basically, it has a standard beam rifle, which is, again, trying to look very much like the GELGOOG beam rifle. You can see it here in the hand. It's it's a standard beam rifle. Not bad, but, it also has it has a beam shield, and now this beam shield I think is actually pretty cool. So it tries to have, like, a large tower shield like the GELGOOG. It's not as big. I do wish it was bigger. I think it would be cool if it was, like, huge and had, like, big beam effects in it, but but I do like the way that it's got, like, the mixture of, like, having a solid shield and the beam shield parts around it. I think it looks cool.
And I think it shows pretty well in the movie,
Mhm.
like visually. Like you get here's it blocking some, some green beams, and here's just it default charging with it.
Yeah.
And I think both of these look pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good looking shield. And then finally it has the beam halberd, which is to say still not a halberd, much like how the original is not a naginata. It is, the double-sided, beam weapon. So yeah, this is the Magnus Gladius beam halberd. And, it's cool.
A few other illustrative shots here. We have, here's it firing the missiles from the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are actually 2 different beam rifles. Luna Maria has a special one.
Right, because normally it just use like a, it just uses like the ZAKU one, right? Normally?
The ZAKU one has like the circular drum and everything. This is just a different design entirely.
Oh, okay, I see it, yeah. Weird, okay.
And this is just like, she got a bigger one because she snipe.
Yeah, she gets a longer one. And it's basically the same design, but has a longer barrel attached to it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like literally attached. It looks like this is just an attachment on the end.
Yeah. But yeah, it does still have the wizard system also, so it can, even though there are the Bolello packs, theoretically, you could also be throwing the other wizard packs on it, like the Blaze and all that. Which, that's fun. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad sounding like dismissive. It's not that I dislike it. It's also just that I don't I'm not super in love with it either.
Yeah, listen,
it's
you don't
fine.
have to like everything.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. I just feel bad because I'm like, I feel like I'm being dismissive of it, but also it's not even like a level of dismission. It's just like, it's fine. There are other designs I don't like in the movie that I could bring up, but like, no, this one's fine.
Yeah, this one's okay. Just broadly, I think the movie, a lot of the designs were really unambitious.
Yeah. But yeah.
And sometimes the ambition was a mistake.
Oh,
because we're going to talk about the GYAN Strom.
Also, real quick before we go on, so Schizophonics showed this off. So one, compatibility with the wizard pack here. You can see it's got the gunner pack on, so that's fun. This looks much better as a model, by the way, because again, it has more detail. Having like these vents not just be hollow, but having like the gray in them looks a lot better to me. That's just a me thing, but have to mention it. And then one other thing to mention is the one weapon I like, and this is used by like every machine in the second half of the movie. The prototype railgun is really cool though. I think this is actually a very solid like railgun design. Now the thing is, everything uses this in the second half. The Type 35 prototype advanced railgun. It's pretty cool though. I already have it because I have the Blast Impulse from Seed Freedom, because that one I do like quite a bit, and it comes with that, and so does the sword. Everything that comes from Seed Freedom is going to have this, basically, that is on Compass's side, which, again, it makes sense. They have to switch to using it so that they, to get through the femto technology armor.
Yeah.
But yeah. Which is really funny, because apparently in Japanese, it's not femto, it is femtech. Which, okay, fair enough. Alright, so yeah, GYAN Strom time.
Indeed.
So you don't like the GYAN Strom. I can already tell from how you worded that.
By me saying that it was bad? Yeah, that was kind of a giveaway.
Look, it's funny, because this is actually the one I like a lot more than the GELGOOG. But we'll talk about it. Though it does look better with the atmospheric pack than the space pack. Also looks.
I mostly dislike one part of it.
Also looks better when it's in the standard colors and not in Agnes's colors. Funnily, because Agnes's colors are actually the more unique ones. Because she.
So do you want to post what I'm seeing it listed as the Hilda Harkin Would you prefer that?
Yeah, which is like...
Oh, we're posting them. You're posting...
That's
Agnes is what
Agnes's,
you're
yeah.
posting.
And then I figure we post both.
Oh, I see. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can compare them. I just think the one that's in the actual GYAN colors on the right looks better, whereas Agnes's looks bad in the white, I think. Not to mention, I think the trim looks worse when it's blue like that. I think the trim looks better white than, like, you know, this, like, slate blue gray thing. I don't like Agnes's colors very much there. Anyway. But, yeah. So, to describe this design, starting with the head, very GYAN, like, you know, it's a tall, pointy head. And a thing that is different from the GYANs is this doesn't go inward at the bottom, so you've got the top part, which has a point on the top, you know, then is conical. The lower half of this, though, you still have a helmet, like, going around the bottom of the head that has, like, these two little swept-back earpieces. And then you have the, you know, this diamond shape, where the mono eye is, inset in. And the thing that's weird is this has, like, cheek armor, so instead of it just going, like sunken in, like, the original GYAN, this has, like, cheek armor, so kind of gives it just a more conical head feel because of that.
This is kind of my big problem with this design, is the head. I just think the head looks really... I hate the big W. Like, if this was in, like, a Sentai show, it'd be like, sure, whatever. This is a dumb monster of the week. But I think as a robot, this head looks bad.
How do you feel about the original GYAN's head? Out of curiosity.
The original GYAN is such a weird machine visually. I feel like I can accept it fully as its own thing, because, like, pretty much every element of the design is trying to not be like other mobile suits around it.
Yeah.
It's just doing this, like, you know, European night thing, and I think that's cool.
I do think the head also looks better on the model. They kind of chunked the head out a bit more. It's kind of thin in the art there.
Yeah, it does look better in the model, you're right.
Yeah. It's just funny, because they, you know, it has kind of a pinhead thing going on in the original, mostly because it is, like, a big pointy pin for the head. But, yeah, moving on to the torso. The torso, you've got a large popped collar going around the neck. It's got some white trim on it, or blue trim, depending on which one you're looking at. The upper torso, just kind of pretty standard. You have two pectorals, there is a little bit of venting on the bottom of them. You got a black piece in the very middle of the chest, a lighter piece below that. You have two sections of torso, pretty standard chest going on here, nothing too special. The shoulders, this is the part where I think it's a little cowardly. I think it should have done a circular shoulder like the original GYAN, or just not had shoulder armor at all, just because, you know, the original GYAN has its, like, weird big ball shoulders that are kind of unique. This just has rounded shoulder armor, has a plate on top, but it's mostly all, like, one piece, ends in a point, has a thruster sticking out of the bottom of it. Very simple shoulder. Then very similar arms to the GELGOOG here for the bicep and the upper arm. You know, a little more rounded, I guess, than the GELGOOGs, but it's simple. Then the forearms, again, pretty simple in design. They have a panel line down the middle, a little bit of an inset right around, like, the joint area. The armor is just, like, inset on it, and then it has, like, a little outer hard point for attaching, like, the shield and whatnot. A little bit of white armor around a little bit of armor around the wrist that is in a different color than the body armor. And then the hands are hands. The skirt, you've got a black piece on top, followed by just having some layers of armor below that and a black piece on the bottom. Two front skirts, they're a little thicker on the top, and then they thin out towards the bottom. They have a little thruster at the end of the skirts. It's kind of similar to the GELGOOGs. The side skirts they have an interesting shape. They're they are longest at the front, and then, like, the back part, it kind of, like, angles up, like, when you're looking at the bottom of it. Just an interesting shape there. It has a hard point for holding on to weapons on the side of it, this is where it keeps its saber. And then the rear skirt, simple flat skirt, has two thrusters on the back of it. Has a bit of a trim on it. The thighs, it does do the GELGOOG thigh thing of having, like, the weirdly, like, the thighs almost have, like, a point to them on the front, you know? It has an interesting shape to the thighs. They're a bit more, flat angled all around. The thighs have quadrants, when you're looking at them from the front, basically.
Uh-huh.
And then, standard joint, the knees are popped up a bit, pointy on the top. You have a little inset knee, has a thruster on it. You have two little vents in the leg, like little scoops on the sides of the calves. A tall thruster on the very back of the leg. The legs are far less bell-bottomy, a lot thinner in the middle than the GELGOOGs, though it does sweep open into a more like open cuff at the bottom of the leg. And you have two thrusters on the side of the little cuff at the very bottom. No ankle armor. Tall feet, has a couple of sections of layered armor on the top of the foot before you have the dark part for the bottom, and then just have a bit of a high heel. Finally, the backpack, it uses the same backpacks as the GELGOOG. So yeah, kind of a quick one to talk about, probably why we had to include them together. But yeah.
The legs are really cool on this machine.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite part.
So yeah, this machine uses the same beam rifle as the GELGOOG, like in terms of the standard one, which is just that scoped one, that is meant to be an evolution to the ZAKU Warriors beam rifle. It has a pair of rotary machine guns in the chest. Do we have a picture of that on the wiki real quick with it popping them open? Let's see. I don't think we do. No, it looks like we don't.
What are you looking for?
It mentions that it has the Tridenti triple barrel rotary beam machine guns in the chest.
Ah.
And
yeah,
I'm not seeing a picture of that. I'm trying to see, does the model allow it to do that? Does it have a part swap for the model so it can open up the chest and do that? Yes, it does. Okay, cool. Alright, I'll show it off on the model here. You can see the way the chest does not open the way you would think, by the way, because you look at the chest and it looks like those are two doors there, right? Like, so those would open like up and down. No, they pop open. This whole thing pops open to the side, and it's got little chest gatlings, very heavy arm style. It is funny how different the model looks, like in terms of its detail, by the way. Like, I'm looking at even like the bottom crotch piece there and stuff. Has like a completely different design than just having a big like black block of armor. It's just funny how the models always work out for Seed, where they end up looking better by virtue of not looking like the thing that's in Seed.
Yeah, it does. I feel like I would swap out I guess if I was doing a kit bash, I would swap out the head, and I would probably swap out the backpack, because I don't like the backpack all that much. But like the body of this design,
it can also use the atmospheric pack, and I think the colors, again, having the darker colors on the backpack works a bit better. Here's the atmospheric pack. Whoops. I did that thing where I overwrote the existing image. Whoops. Here we go.
I'm sure it can just use wizard stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you just not like this backpack in general?
Yeah, I don't like that backpack in general. I never like that style of backpack from them. I'll just give this like a sword impulse or something, and that'll be sick.
Okay, fair. Yeah, so, and then some other weapons it has are in the wrist. It has the Slayer Whip Heat Rod, so it actually has like the Goof Ignited's Heat Rod thing going on, and that just pops out of the on either arm. It's a little hard to see in the art, but you can see a little bit of it there. Basically, either arm has this little, bulged out part on the side of the wrist, and it can pop out the whip. So, that's fun.
Yeah.
And then, it has the Pharaoh Sakare Beam Saber, which is a, it's weird. It's like, it has increased output and whatnot. Unfortunately, unlike the original GYAN Beam Saber, they don't really, it's not like a bigger saber or anything. It's just, like, at least, like, a lot of things, like, when they make, like, the GYAN, like, they showed off, they make the beam saber on the GYAN really thick. But this one just uses, like, a standard beam saber, basically. It's just got a round little like handle guard there.
But it makes up for this because it has the axe.
Yes. So the other melee weapon is this just uses the /ZAKU Warriors axe, the Falx beam axe, and that thing is fucking cool. Yeah. I love this thing. Yeah.
Gosh, the colors on this shield are just wrong for this unit.
Yeah.
I know they're doing the GYAN thing, but
yeah. Ironically, the one that's colored like the GYAN does not use that shield. It uses this shield, which actually matches a lot better.
That looks way better.
Yeah. So yeah, there it is with the beam, the beam halberd there. It's fucking cool, or beam axe, I should say. Now, this is not a function they ever show in anything, but I always think about how on the Master Grade they added the ability for it to, it can kind of fold into a scythe by combining the two beam blades together on the top, which, regardless of function, looks fucking cool. Like, regardless of the practicality of a scythe versus an axe, in terms of shape, it looks really cool. So, yeah. I do like that, though. And then, yeah, so it has the big GYAN shield. This is called the self-propelled shield. Now, instead of having missiles in the shield, this thing has a new gimmick with the shield, which is pretty fun. It has a bunch of beam emitters around the edge of the shield, as you can see there. And then the other thing it can do is it can spin while it's inside of the forearm piece. So it basically has a big beam buzzsaw on the arm. I think that thing is pretty cool. I love this. I also really like the effect piece they did.
It's kind of silly and nonsense as a weapon, but it is cool. So
look, it's the same way I love the Age 1's beam weed whacker. It's just, there's something cool about beams spinning really fast to make a buzzsaw. Even if it doesn't really matter, it looks cool. And that's what matters with big robots overall. I mean, yeah, it's a seed GELGOOG ultimately too. Much like the other one's a seed GELGOOG, this is a seed GYAN, and it does what it's supposed to as a seed GYAN. It looks like a GYAN that is seedified.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Here's the scythe mode, by the way, just to show this off. So you see the two beam blades converge on the top, and then it makes like a weird scythe. I guess you could also use it like a weird thrusting weapon when it's like this. But yeah.
Yeah, if you wanted it to be a scythe, shouldn't the blades be facing the other direction? This is more like a weird like beam like pick thing almost.
Yeah. It has a little bit of scythe blade with the extended bit there, but yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah. Whatever.
That's fine. It was a gimmick they did for it, just because they were looking at it with the Master Grade, and they're like, what else can we do with this? Let's make it so it does that. But yeah,
it's
and that
notably piloted by Cosmic Era Rekoa Londo.
Going through the whole Rekoa arc in a single fucking movie.
Which, honestly, if Rekoa had maybe compressed that arc a little bit, I might appreciate that.
Fair. Agnes is so fucking funny. I'm glad that her one quote on the wiki is Luna chastising her for going after other people's boyfriends, and she says, "What's wrong with that? Any man would obviously love me. Don't feel so jealous." And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Fair enough. You could just kind of boil her down to that.
Yeah.
I can't believe she gets cucked too in this film.
I mean, she doesn't. It's not true. She feels like she does, personally, from her perspective.
I mean,
her perspective is she goes after someone else's...
From my point of view, they cucked me.
She goes after someone's boyfriend of, 10 years, and they're like, no, that's not cucking.
2 years? Because this is only 2 years later for some fucking reason.
Right. God.
It's only 2 years after fucking See Destiny for some reason.
Fake movie.
It's so funny. But okay, it's fine though, because she then is in love with, then she's kind of in love with Shura. Kind of. But also is
No.
Yeah.
She's just like, listen, I thought I had a crush on fucking, Kira, but I actually have a crush on fucking Shin, and I'll figure that out at the end. But in the meantime, I'm going to go after the guy who beat Shin in a duel.
It's so stupid.
It's
so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Shura Shura is the one who actually gets a real fight, unlike the others. Because Shura is the one who gets to have the fight with, he gets to have the fight with, Atherin. And then the rest of them all fucking die because of, Shin's head empty powers.
Which, God bless.
I do love that bit. I do love them trying to be like, okay, we'll just simply break his brain. And then there's like a vision of fucking, Stella in his head that's just like, and then becomes a demon. And then Shin just gets angry and murders them all.
Yeah.
That bit's funny as hell. How do we kill off the rest of the Black Knight squad? No bespoke duels for them. We'll just kill off all the ones that don't matter. We'll kill off the 3 that don't matter all at once. It's great. As the fucking Destiny Gundam to Shadow Clone Jutsu.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Yeah, that's that, though. Not much to talk about. They were neat. Again, I'm ambivalent on the machines overall. I wouldn't object to, like, getting a model of one of them at some point, maybe, but they're also not like, these are super cool and change my thought about this. They're fine.
They're fine.
What about you, Six? I have hiccups.
Yeah, I pretty much just agree with they're fine. I think ultimately they end up doing well in comparison because of all the Spec 2s, which are just like colors, like palette swaps, like where like a little later into a fucking, JRPG, and now they brought the sprite back with like more serious colors.
Yeah.
Which is really underwhelming.
Yeah, though, to be fair, those impulses look way cooler when they have the colors like that.
The colors are good, but it's like you had like 90 years to make this movie.
Well, the problem is they're still using, as we brought up last night, they're still using design notes from roughly fucking 2006 for a lot of them. The only, new designs seemingly... Well, okay, I guess the GELGOOG and the GYAN were not in the old design book there. And, so I guess those were maybe new. And then, the Black Knight designs are unique, but yeah, no, like, the freedom, the justice, and all that, and I guess also the impulse. It's like, yeah, no, they didn't think about these at all.
Yeah. Dylan, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on, at lowpolyrobot on twitter.com. Or on X, right. Sorry. Or no, on... Oh my god, Blue Sky! I haven't posted on fucking Twitter in Look, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's fair.
I haven't posted on there in forever. It's really funny because I think even the shield, looking at it, even the beam boomerang shields are there on the original designs.
Huh.
They literally just... They didn't really have to do much to these designs in the intervening almost fucking 20 years that passed with this film.
Go figure. You can find me on Blue Sky as well. I'm Sixdetmar, SAXDETTMAR.
I didn't say my
questions, comments, listener requests.
Did I say my at? Or did I just say you can find me those places?
You said you're at. I've said this 3 times. Listen.
No, it's...
I've answered your question.
Look,
stop asking it.
You were quiet.
Well.
We do have... Sorry, this book. Thankfully, I do have an acronym in this book for us. That is not on the wiki.
Okay.
Not for the GYAN or the GELGOOG, unfortunately, but for their backpack, the Bolello. It is, there's the Bolello A and S, which it's funny because they said atmospheric and space. That's not what they stand for. It's the Bolello A, which is Battle Operation Launch and Explosive Ordnance Air. So air, not atmosphere. And then
Sure.
the other one is space, though. It's the Battle Operation Launch and Explosive Ordnance Space. Sorry, it is space for that one. But it isn't atmosphere, it's just air.
Sure.
I think they changed it to atmosphere in the US, because there's a couple of changes they made, which, honestly, it's better that way. Battle Operation Launch and Explosive Ordnance is the most stretching something to get Bolello. What is Bolello? Is it supposed to be like Bolero?
Nothing. Sure.
Because, like, given that they used the L in the middle of explosive, they clearly want it to be Bolello, but I was like, is it meant to be like Bolero? Because, you know, a Bolero is like a type of jacket. So, like, and I guess,
Sure.
like, a backpack's like a Bolero, kind of. Not really. But I don't know what Steve's trying to do.
Anyway.
Alright.
Um,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Look.
No, you're fine. I just don't care.
But
You can find my
we
work
have
and the
to
work
care.
of
This is
a
our
lot of my
show
friends
about caring.
over. Sometimes caring is defined by its occasional omission. ScanlineMedia.com, Patreon.com/ScanlineMedia. Would appreciate your support. Obviously, don't forget to message and, you know, send a request. We'll do requests next time. We just wanted to make sure it was going to be short this time. And then also, you know,
I'm trying
Discord.
I'm just stretching it out because it's making you clearly want it to end. Oh, sorry.
And until next time, folks, remember, in Cut Kingdom, nobody jumps for the beef.
What the fuck does... Wait, what? I've never heard that saying. Like, the nobody jumps for
Yeah,
the
I
beef.
bet you haven't. Peace.
Nobody jumps for the beef, I mean. Not that... Peace.